like that. Anyways, hey, good morning. What's up, you guys? It's Tuesday here at the Watch Party. I'm Jayar Jackson. This is the Watch List. Um, it's wild out there. It's wild. Glad you guys are all here. I was a little bit late on at least the buildup of the presentation of posting this here live as we get started. So I decided to dive in. I got like 3 minutes before we're actually at the top of the hour, and I never actually sit and talk to you guys. I said that like one other time, and I actually sat here and talked to you guys, and I haven't done it since. But I enjoy that stuff. How's everybody doing? How's Tuesday flowing? How's everyone's lives going? I know you guys discuss in the chat all the time, but I never really get a chance. Oh, I also forgot. Moondeer just said it's St. Patrick's Day. I always forget. Um, always forget. And when I was a kid in elementary school, I hated that, sorry sons of bitches was trying to pinch you because you wasn't wearing green. I was like, I'm pretty far from Irish. I don't think I need to be getting involved with this whole thing. And again, I've forgotten again to say, look, all the green that I've got on. Allie Pat says, "Hey, what's going on, Allie? How you guys doing?" Naomi Nay, Jason Staley, what's going on, everyone? And of course, Darlene McClure. It's like my trigger person. That's how I get this whole thing started. When Darlene's ready, I am ready. I mean, most times. As you guys Miss Firefly Dragon, good to see everyone there. Wisconsin is a blizzard. I forgot my heater in here today. It's a little bit chilly today. I'm a California kid. It can't drop below 50 degrees without me complaining about it. I'm sorry, 65. That's what I actually meant before I'm complaining about things. Good to see everyone. Glad you guys are here. I'm glad I'm not in the North anymore. No longer living in Detroit. I paid my dues. So good luck with Wisconsin, you all. Uh, so I've got a couple of things on the list today. I'm trying to avoid more war talk. Of course, I'm going to have some of the war talk because I really do think that's now this main story. It's driving all of our costs. It's driving our standing in the world. It's driving death, destruction, and potential unsafe conditions here at home. It's driving the thoughts of potential false flag operations, which many people are speculating we've had in the past. It's the mess and the chaos that this Trump presidency will bring to us. And whether you're on the side of it or not, it's still chaos and it's still madness. That's just what it is. And you have to understand who that helps and who that hurts, whether you're MAGA or whether you're super lib or whether you got Trump derangement syndrome, it all hurts us. And I think people maybe get a little bit tired of it. So I wanted to dive into something else. I wanted to dive into something else that's been floating around. I've been preserving a few clips and videos, and I was like, I'm not sure if I should talk about this yet. I'm not sure if I should talk about this at all. I'm a one-man operation here as far as production and planning. So I was like, I really have to know. I really have to read deeper. I really have to make sure that I understand what it is I'm talking about because what's checked out is checked out by me after I pull it off. And I have, only like a couple few hours before I get the chance to come on here and talk to you guys. And I wanted to make sure what it is that I'm seeing is something that I really want to talk about. So I dug in a little bit deep. Thankful for you too, Miss Firefly Dragon. Good to see you guys. Um, I'm not muted, am I? Squirrel Dragon? I'm not muted. I wanted to talk about Benjamin Netanyahu and the speculation surrounding that really bad guy, or as some people are saying, formerly that really bad guy who used to be on this earth. I'm gonna start here, and I'm gonna show you guys why some folks are trying to figure out what is up with Benjamin Netanyahu. That is since this Iran war started, because things like this are circulating the internet, and the internet is a crazy place. So you can't always believe what you see, but this was weird.
שמשנים את מאזן הכוחות במזרח התיכון וגם מעבר לו. שמשנים את מאזן הכוחות במזרח התיכון וגם מעבר לו.
As you can see, there's a freeze frame really fast of a speech that Benjamin Netanyahu really was giving. And the freeze frame with a red arrow pointing at his right hand signified something that many people are asking questions of, and I don't think the questions have been fully answered yet. Here's a little bit of a glimpse, zoom in here at how many fingers does this guy have on his hands. I mean, it's always the first thing that people look for when they're trying to determine whether or not something is real or fake, as we're now fully in the world of AI generated videos to maybe fool people, to make people think that some folks are doing something that they're not doing. And in this particular case, what people have counted is 6 fingers. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like 5 on that hand. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 5 on that hand. But when it bends, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that a half a finger? Is that 5.5, or is that fully 6? The problem with these types of things being asked is that answers usually are the things that people look for next, or we're going to take off and run with it. And bro, people like Kim Iverson, who last I checked was solid MAGA conservative, she explains why this is such a big deal and, man, why we're running with it.
What led to the speculation is that Iran says we got him. And people started to notice that they hadn't really seen Benjamin Netanyahu. Now, the last time that we did really see him truly was March 2nd. Netanyahu had visited the site of a Iranian ballistic missile strike in Bet Shemesh, which is just west of Jerusalem. And the strike killed about 6 to 9 civilians, wounded dozens of people. He toured the damaged residential area and also spoke to the press. That was the last time we saw him. Watch this.
Right now in one of the locations that was attacked, you can see just behind me, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who has visited this place. This is one of the locations where a deadly attack took place. 9 people were killed, and there were, in fact, more than 25 who were injured out here. You can see Netanyahu, in fact, visiting this particular location out here.
Okay, so this was filmed March 1st or 2nd. That is what, well, sorry, this was filmed March 2nd. The strike happened March 1st or March 2nd, and then Netanyahu shows up. So probably the strike happened March 1st. Netanyahu's there March 2nd. Then the report is from the Iranians that they had struck and killed potentially him and his brother and others at his house. They claim that they struck his home on March 2nd. So that would have been after the visit to this location. That evening or the next day, the Iranians claimed they struck his house and his office. And that is really the last time we've seen Netanyahu until now, with these supposed videos of him that look kind of like AI.
She's not really fully ready to accept it, but I do think there's questions now being asked. Kim Iverson, as I point out, last I checked, I'm not sure she's one of the folks that's been flipping lately on this administration, is solid MAGA. And questions are being asked because of that strike on that building where he was visiting, and no one has seen him since, especially after Iranian leadership has said that they got him and his brother and whoever else was in another building, a residence or something, where they apparently knew where he was. So she mentioned some videos. This is where it really gets heavier. There was a video that was posted after the speculation began of whether or not Benjamin Netanyahu is dead. And it was this one.
מה שאלת אותי?
ראש הממשלה אומרים ברשת שאתה בכלל מת?
אני מת על קפה, אתה יודע מה? אני מת על העם שלי. איך הם מתנהגים, פנטסטי. אתה רוצה לספור את מספר אצבעות?
אתה יכול להראות לנו?
פה. ראית?
יפה מאוד.
לחיים.
ראש הממשלה מסר לאנשים שיוצאים ומתאווררים?
לצאת להתאוורר, אבל ליד מרחב מוגן. והעמידה שלכם היא מדהימה, נותנת כוח לי, לממשלה, לצה"ל, למוסד. אנחנו עושים דברים אני לא יכול לשתף ברגע זה, אבל עושים דברים מכים באיראן חזק מאוד, גם ביום הזה, גם בלבנון, ממשיכים. אתם אומרים לי להמשיך? אני אומר לכולכם, גם אתם תמשיכו. תמשיכו להישמע להוראות פיקוד העורף, כל הזמן, להישמע להוראות פיקוד העורף, וגם לראשי הערים, להיות תמיד ליד מרחב מוגן. ואנחנו נקל ככל שהדבר ניתן. ותודה לך על הקפה, הוא מצוין. אני לא יודע לגבי הקלוריות, זה נראה לי מסוכן מאוד.
Okay, now there's certain things that people are looking at all the time when they're in AI videos, or at least searching to see if something is real or not. The number one thing was, of course, as we started with the fingers. If you get an extra finger or a lack of a finger or something happening with those fingers that don't look very human, that's always your first telltale sign. But things rapidly get better as we use up every amount of resource that we can to allow rich and powerful elite people to use all of that energy to create fake ass videos or fake realities so that they can hide under the cover of, of broad daylight with fakeness. So in that particular case, people looked at that coffee that with the frothy top, didn't move too much, but when it did, and took 2 solid sips, nothing decreased. People are asking questions, bro. How come you can drink coffee and it not leave that coffee or be filled to the brim to that degree, and you shake like that and nothing goes over the edge. Like I said, people are asking questions, but what I like to do, as I pointed out, is I like to look at the hands. There was one section in that video where he stuck his hand back into his jacket pocket. I isolated it and I was like, listen, I wasn't on board with the whole this is fake because I'm trying to be extra careful. I'm trying to be on the other side of it, even if I have some speculation. But bro, this was weird. Look at the zoom in that I took of this.
וגם לראשי הערים להיות תמיד ליד מרחב מוגן. ואנחנו נקל ככל שהדבר ניתן, מרחב מוגן. ואנחנו נקל ככל שהדבר ניתן.
I have a lot of jackets. I've worn a lot of jackets my whole life. Yeah, like I said, I grew up in Detroit and St. Louis. It gets cold there. When you stick your hand in your jacket pocket, usually your hand goes into your jacket pocket rather than your hungry jacket pocket eating your hand. Your jacket pocket's like, bro, I'm a little bit too warm. I need a cold hand. Let me go and move and grab your hand. It's almost like I guess a jacket handshake. Maybe the technology is that, rich and powerful folks have jackets that eat their hands instead. It's something that's being mocked, as you can tell, even by Iranian leadership, who inserted Khamenei here, who we all know is actually dead, into the same coffee shop. I think they're trying to make a point.
מה שאלת אותי?
ראש הממשלה אומרים ברשת שאתה בכלל מת?
אני מת על קפה, אתה יודע מה? אני מת על העם שלי. איך הם מתנהגים, פנטסטי. אתה רוצה לספור את מספר אצבעות?
אתה יכול להראות לנו?
היית?
יפה מאוד.
לחיים.
אני חושב המסר לאנשים שיוצאים ומתאווררים.
לצאת להתאוורר, אבל ליד מרחב מוגן. והעמידה שלכם היא מדהימה, נותנת כוח לי, לממשלה, לצה"ל, למוסד, אנחנו עושים...
So obviously not done at the same degree as the Netanyahu version, but I think what they're trying to point out is, look, we can make a dead guy look alive too. All it does is breed speculation. That's really all they need to do, is breed a little bit of doubt, a little of curiosity. So once that curiosity was being bred and people are asking questions, what do you know? Here's another video of Benjamin Netanyahu on a balcony greeting some folks who are enjoying seeing him. Is this one real?
פה עם שיר ושיר. איזה יופי.
תודה רבה.
תודה,
איזה
תודה לכם.
אלופים, תודה רבה.
תודה לכם. טוב, קצת לספוג שמש. תודה לכם. של מי הכלב? איזה סוג זה?
נענית, ישראלית.
נענית ישראלית, כל הכבוד. טוב, גם לא מגיע קצת.
ישראלית אמיתית.
לכולכם מגיע. יצאתם להתעורר קצת?
כן.
יפה מאוד. תראה, על ירושלים, יש משהו יותר יפה מזה?
אין על ירושלים.
אין על ירושלים, אין, נהדר.
הוא השתגע מזה.
תשמע, אני זוכר את זה.
אתה זוכר? קוראים לו גיא.
זה היה במטוס, אוקיי, תמסרו לו דש. איזה יופי. שלום. שלום לכם. גם אתם יצאתם קצת להתעורר?
קצת להתעורר. כמובן שיש מרחב מוגן, זה במקום כזה.
מרחב מוגן, איפה את יודעת?
ממש שמה, בטח. א' ב' זה לבדוק.
כמה צעדים מכאן, נכון?
כמה צעדים.
יופי, זה הכי חשוב.
קל לנצח ואנחנו נשמור על עצמנו.
מצוין, זה בדיוק.
חד משמעית.
את אמרת הכי טוב. הציבור מבין את העניין. אבל הנה הפרט הכי חשוב. איך קוראים לך?
שיר.
מה ששיר אמר, ואת?
שיר גם.
יש לנו שני שירים כאן. מה ששיר ושיר אמרו זה הדבר המרכזי. צריך להבין, זה דורש אורך רוח, אבל זה גם אפשר לפעמים לצאת לרוח, להתאוורר, אבל תמיד להיות ליד מרחב מוגן, וגם פה יש.
So if you're like me, you don't speak the language, fine, it's not necessary. But it would be helpful to know what they're saying. I'm sure many people do. I just haven't found those translations yet. But there he is on a balcony. And since, I began to speculate after that first video that I saw, which was clearly, in my opinion, an AI-generated video, I was looking hardcore again at this one. And there's some things, again, maybe there's newer technologies. There's new things you have to look for. First of all, we're seeing a lot of jump, jerky movements of the camera. I mean, they're clean and they're exact as soon as they get to those points. Big deal. Maybe the camera's like a really good guy at this stuff, and he knows when someone's going to speak right when they speak. I mean, there's things like the way he walks around. Maybe look in the background, see if there's some reality based in these things. But no, you know what? This is what I missed that some other internet sleuths soon discovered. There was a moment in that same balcony video where apparently You got to look at the hands. Check out the ring on his ring finger, left hand.
יצאתם להתעורר? קצת?
כן.
יפה מאוד. תראה, ירושלים יש... יצאתם להתעורר קצת? יפה מאוד. ירושלים יש מה שיותר יפה מזה. אין על ירושלים.
Okay. The ring is there. The ring is gone. The ring is back. It's a pretty, I would say that's impossible. So I think we can chalk it up. You can speculate to a pretty solid degree. AI video number 2. Are these proof of life videos? Or are these just us talking about how relaxed Benjamin Netanyahu is off in the countryside, off hanging out with folks while in the middle of a war, while Israel is also bombing Lebanon as well? So as all this is going on, the first, I guess, question in many people's heads should be, why the fuck are you hanging out in coffee shops and on balconies when there's a war going on that apparently, according to Marco Rubio, you told us to go into? And they said, yes, sir. How quickly can we get there, sir? I mean, it's one of the 12 different excuses that they gave. But as I think someone pointed out, as I just glanced at in the chat, there's this guy, I'm not sure his leanings, whatever, but it's Ben Swan. He's apparently the founder, CEO of Truth in Media and Sovereign Media, and also Bixen Studios. Just to give you guys, information on who this guy is, because I'm not familiar with him. But outside of all the videos, outside of all the things that people speculate on whether or not he's alive or dead, there's something else that we should be seeing that would give a better proof of life event. He breaks that down.
Step back and look at the bigger picture. Right now, President Donald Trump is traveling internationally, meeting with allies, attempting to manage the fallout from a war that is rapidly expanding. See, the president is calling on NATO to get involved in this war and securing the Strait of Hormuz. But Netanyahu, he isn't doing any of that. In fact, in the last week, he has met with no one, not one world leader. And it's not just meetings. Netanyahu has not held a live press conference in days. He was not present at the country's security meeting on Saturday, and he missed the war meeting today. Absent from both in the middle of a massive war in which his country is struck by missile attack daily. But he really needs a cup of coffee and a photo op at an observation deck. This is ridiculous. There have been no major televised addresses, no interviews, just short videos posted online.
And that might be the kind of thought or point that wraps this up. And again, it's not like he originated that. I'm sure a lot of folks are saying it, because I don't know where his appearances normally would be or not. I don't follow Benjamin Netanyahu's movements. But apparently, according to this guy, if you want to believe him, and I'm sure many people can double check that, has he been at any of these appearances? Has he made any statements about this war that he's been thirsty for a very long time? Has he been talking about the potential difficulties? Even going the route of someone like Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth go, which is going out and bragging, standing in front of microphones and talking about how you're killing your enemy, and not talking about how you're killing innocent civilians. That part that we completely ignore. None of it's being said. No meetings in any war meetings, as I think he also pointed out. Again, I'm going off of his points here, and if he's wrong, then I guess I'm just listening to a guy who's wrong, and I can accept that. So there's no confirmation that he's no longer alive, but there is confirmation that they're putting out AI-generated videos of him as everyone speculates whether or not he's alive. It could mean something as simple as he can't get out of that bunker that he's in, if he's in one, that he's severely injured, still alive, and just not able to make appearances. Maybe there's issues with his face. Who knows? Or is his voice, or with his ability to move? I don't know. All I know is those were some AI-generated videos right when everyone is speculating whether or not this guy is around. And the first one, which I assume, as he stuck his hand up to show he's got 5 fingers, is in response to all of that speculation, which means they're listening to, they're watching, and they care about that speculation. Why? I'm just here to ask questions. But also, as all this whole thing was going down, as far as the development of AI, and as Donald Trump and his administration was putting in place, don't forget this part, to sue states in the United States of America that went about limiting the use of AI generated content because they want more confusion. They want more people asking whether or not what they're seeing in front of their face is real, so that if we do see something in front of our face that's real and devastating and against what they want us to see, they can say that's AI. And maybe the things that we do see that we like that we're seeing that they don't want us liking that we're seeing, they can also say, well, that's just AI. That's not real. We'll see. There's gonna have to come some point when we're gonna need something better than this. That's all I'll say. And when and if Donald Trump is no longer with us, I feel like that was my first thought. They're setting it up for when he's not here, because who takes his place is JD fucking Vance. Nobody likes that guy. They need to keep the image of Donald Trump alive, even though no one likes that guy either. I mean, thinking people don't like that guy. Anyways, okay, that's it on my speculation section of the hour. But sometimes I need to just shed it a little bit, because I see a lot of conspiracies, I see a lot of speculation, and there's, in many cases, I look at it and go, well, maybe. Let's move on to this stupid president. How about that? He was sitting in in I guess the Oval Office or wherever his desk is. I don't know the sections of the White House. In front of a bunch of reporters, and he went on this long tirade, screed about guys that he doesn't like. The main guy he doesn't like is Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, and boy, he kind of stepped in it here. I feel like the bigotry, the hatred, and the exclusionary mindset of this guy it's gotten out of hand.
That's how crazy it's gotten with a low IQ person, because Gavin Newsom has admitted that he has learning disabilities. Honestly, I'm all for people with learning disabilities, but not for my president. I think a president should not have learning disabilities, okay? And I know it's highly controversial to say such a horrible thing. The president of the United States, Gavin Newsom, admitted that he has learning disabilities, dyslexia, everything about him is dumb. But then he looked at the audience and said, but I'm smarter than you, or something like that. That was pretty silly. So now, on top of everything else, I call him a racist because it happened to be a black audience. I will tell you this. I think it was the worst interview I've ever seen of any human being in my life.
Keep in mind when he said that was the worst interview of any human he's ever seen in his life, because he's about to take that mantle, I think, in his own head. I just want to point out something that Donald Trump thinks, the way he talks and the way he thinks no one is noticing, because too many MAGA people gloss over it. Apparently, having a learning disability means that you're dumb, according to Donald Trump. So everyone out there with a learning disability or has a family member with one, apparently Donald Trump thinks that you're dumb. On top of that, apparently Gavin Newsom was elected president, right? I guess a year after Donald Trump got in office, because 2 different times he says, learn disabilities, not from my president. Who's your president, Donald Trump? And then he said, the president of the United States, Gavin Newsom, he said it this way: the president of the United States, Gavin Newsom, has learning disabilities, but he's dumb. I know this is controversial to say, so I'm going to say it because I'm a fucking idiot and I'm a bigot. That's Donald Trump. So there he is, sitting at his desk, I guess behind the comfort of the desk, and thinking that he's somewhat hidden, but his mouth keeps moving, so he's completely and utterly exposed. So then questions begin to get asked about, more pertinent topics, like this war that he started, this one that he doesn't want us to continue to call a war unless, he does. But, it didn't link yet. Here we go. So Peter Ducey, over at Fox News, asked him a question about ending this war. It's the biggest problem that Donald Trump's got. Cue the dumbest and worst interview ever in life, beginning here.
For noticing.
Congratulations.
Can I ask you another question?
Yeah.
If Iran, as you said, totally obliterated, got the missiles, got the first 2 rounds of leadership, Air Force gone, Navy gone, can we wrap this war up this week?
Yeah, sure. Good.
Will we?
I don't think so, but it'll be soon. Won't be long. And we're going to have a much safer world when it's wrapped up. It'll be wrapped up soon. We're going to have a much safer world.
For noticing.
There's little things that I look at. I'm sorry. Sometimes it's off topic, but I think it sometimes makes some sense. Why is it you can't see my hands? But check out his hands at the front of the desk. It's like, say there's the edge of the desk. For some reason, he's sitting up and he's like gripping the front of the desk. It just seems a little childlike. I don't know. It seems like it's an insecure motion. I'm no body analysis expert. But anyway, that's just my first thought. Other than that, the main point of what he's saying is even more troubling. Are we going to end this war this week? Yeah, sure. It's like he never even thought about that question. Sure, why not? I guess we could. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Then he says, will we? I don't think so. So if Donald Trump claims that we can end this war this week, but then he doesn't think that we will, who's in charge of that? He's the same person who said that it's based off his gut feeling he's going to end it when he feels it in the right zone. So do you feel that yet, or is this someone else's decision? Is it Benjamin Netanyahu's decision, the guy that's got a bunch of AI videos being posted about his proof of life? But what makes this worse, this whole question and answer is going to go further downhill, because after being asked if this is going to end this week, he was then also asked about whether or not he knew it was going to get as messy as it has already gotten just after 2 weeks.
Thank you. You were talking about Iran a couple times today and what they did after Epic Fury began. You said they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. Are you surprised that nobody briefed you ahead of time that might be their retaliation?
Nobody, no. The greatest experts, nobody thought they were going to hit. They were, I wouldn't say friendly countries. They were like neutral. They lived with them for years. Peter, they were going to take over the Middle East. They were going to knock out Israel with their nuclear weapon. But after we knocked out their nuclear potential weapon, they started building missiles, thousands and thousands of missiles. And they were going to do it with missiles while they developed. These are sick people. While they developed nuclear, somehow they were going to start at a different site, because that site was, you saw the site, the mountain. They were going to go into a certain area, which we know exactly where it is, and they were going to do that. And it's incredible what we've done. I tell you, the job we've done. You know, if I didn't tell
tangent after tangent after tangent, but don't get past the quote that Ducey was asking about. No one knew what was going to happen. No one knew that they'd be potentially shooting at other potentially friendly or non-confrontational countries in the region. Why didn't anyone ever tell you that? So once he was stuck on realizing he was saying things that don't make him look very good, the standard change and shift of conversation went from that to they were going to take over the Middle East. Fear tactics. That's how you first grip, stupid American people. Then there's building thousands and thousands and thousands of missiles after we took out their nuclear program. Why does that make any sense for you to say that they're building thousands and thousands and thousands of missiles after you took out their nuclear program, when you said you were then there to go to take out their nuclear program now, just like you said you did last June or July when you said you did originally? But his main point here is these are scary brown people. Be afraid. Blank your mind out and don't pay attention to the fact that I just said I had no idea how they would react before I then committed American money, soldiers, and resources to this battle. It's not the only time he said it, though.
and power. Look what happened in the last 2 weeks. They weren't supposed to go after all these other countries in the Middle East. Those missiles were set to go after them. So they hit Qatar, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Kuwait. Nobody expected that. We were shocked. And
Donald Trump just gave a very clear, I think undeniable purpose for people to start bringing up some impeachment proceedings to rid this guy of this office as immediately as possible. And whatever kinds of maneuvers and levers that can be pulled and initiated need to start being pulled and initiated. I think Republicans who are MAGA should start asking their MAGA representatives and senators, yo, listen, I think you guys need to go ahead and get rid of this guy because we're bailing on you. He just made it very clear. He was shocked, appalled, couldn't figure it out. You mean they've got missiles and they would shoot them at other people? How can this happen? Never thought it would happen. Is that supposed to be a flex? Is that supposed to be something to make people feel more comfortable about the fact that you're committing all of this money, which, by the way, is hundreds of billions of dollars, and putting us further into debt and raising up all of our costs because you didn't know what the fuck you were doing? Is that supposed to be the answer? Or is it supposed to be this next change of story. Apparently, a former president, because since no one likes his ass, told him he loves what he's doing. Let's see if he can identify that former president.
I just want to ask you about something very interesting that you said twice today. That you talked to another former president
Yeah,
about
I
the
did.
Iran strikes.
I did.
Was it George W. Bush?
No,
Was it Bill Clinton?
I don't want to say. I don't want to say because
Barack Obama?
a member of a party, they have Trump derangement syndrome, all, but it's somebody that happens to like me, and I like that person who's a smart person. But that person said, I wish I did it. Okay, but I don't want to get into who.
Okay.
I don't want to get him into trouble. Maybe, hey,
I have a guess.
you know what? Yeah, I think you probably know. You know, it's interesting. And maybe he'd be proud. And I could even ask him that. Would you like me to reveal your name to Peter at Fox? Well, at least you have high ratings. Your ratings are through the roof, Peter.
Yes, thank you for noticing.
Congratulations.
Can I ask you another question? Yeah. I just want to ask you about something.
He realized it again. He just says things, and people have allowed him to get away with it his entire stupid life. So as he said again, something else, a former president, there's only a few that are still living. So we can pick the last several and just ask, was it W? Was it Clinton? Was it Biden or was it Obama? Just trying to figure this out. And apparently, as just like his hands on the front of his desk, like a kid says, I don't want to say. I don't want to say because I might get in trouble. And then, of course, changes the subject to Peter Doocy and his ratings because he's looking to ask Peter Doocy, please stop asking me these questions. This sucks. So in response, some folks ask these former presidents, maybe even their spokespeople or people near them, the same question. You won't be surprised to hear this. An aide for George W. Bush told NBC News that they haven't been in touch with Donald Trump. An aide to Bill Clinton also told NBC News that whoever Trump was referring to was not Bill Clinton. An Obama aide said no recent conversations have taken place between Barack Obama and Trump. And a source familiar with the matter said the former President Trump was not Joe Biden. I think that pretty much clears, the last several presidents that he could possibly speak to. Was he talking to Jimmy Carter? Was he talking to Ronald Reagan? I don't know. Who knows? I feel like this is a good time to remind everyone. Donald Trump has been a liar his entire life. He was a liar in business world. He was a liar as a child. He was a liar as a teenager. He was a liar as a young adult. He was a liar as a business guy. He was a liar as a real estate guy. He was a liar as a presidential candidate. He was a liar as president the first time. He was a liar when he wasn't president after he lost in 2020. He's a liar again now, and he's going to be a liar when he's dead. There's going to be a note on his gravestone that says, here lies one of the biggest fucking liars in ever human history, because all he does is lie. So since we know this, how about we understand this? Tomorrow, because I said it like months ago, and I've said it most days beforehand, tomorrow he's going to lie again. Don't believe him, because it's actually lies that are really easy to debunk because his brain continues to deteriorate. But we keep buying it. It makes you wonder why. Let me get back to this whole thing about the conflict in Iran and how Donald Trump didn't know what was going to happen. One of the reasons he probably didn't know what was going to happen or what's going to happen afterwards, maybe outside chance, is because of this.
Just days before the United States launched a major military operation in Iran, the FBI director, Kash Patel, fired about a dozen FBI agents and analysts who worked at a counterintelligence unit that focused on threats from Iran. Now, they worked for a unit called CI-12 in the Washington field office of the FBI, and they were fired because they were part of a team that investigated allegations that Donald Trump mishandled classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago resort.
So when you got a president who was only concerned with retribution, going after folks who busted him for his criminal activity, what you've got is someone who doesn't think very far into the future. So some of those folks, as I pointed out before, they said about a dozen FBI agents who work in counterintelligence, or who work also in the expertise in Iran, weren't there to advise this guy about the things he was getting involved in. Because Kash Patel was doing his job, carried out from Donald Trump's directives to get rid of anyone that was investigating his criminal activity. And who knows what's going to happen next. But he doesn't need experts in the FBI. He could use them for other things. But what he doesn't need is experts in the FBI to tell him that Iran will respond the way that they did, even though he said they were all shocked. He also doesn't need those folks to let him know what it is that's happening now, specifically with the Strait of Hormuz and how he's in this quagmire now that he's asking for help from allies that he alienated. Here's some pieces from a foreign affairs article from February 24th. If you don't remember, this is like several days before Donald Trump launched that attack. Maybe you should have read this. This mismatch of objectives contrasts with the focus that he brought to his previous successful operations, and will make him less prepared if a strike does not yield the expected swift capitulation. Again, he's speculating if Trump goes in, which he did. So this is beforehand. All told, today's conditions mean that an attack by the United States on Iran could result in unexpectedly deadly retaliation and a much longer and potentially damaging conflict for Washington. Hey, it's like someone in this world that Donald Trump never associates with knew what Donald Trump didn't know. Here's more. This is from February 24th. In a speech last week, Khamenei threatened to sink a U.S. aircraft carrier and close the Strait of Hormuz. I'm going to say it one more time. This was from February 24th. And in a speech the week before, Khamenei threatened to sink a U.S. aircraft carrier and close the Strait of Hormuz. Tehran is unlikely to do either of these things given the current U.S. military buildup in the region, but it could more easily inflict U.S. casualties. Someone knew that this was possible. It's weird that Donald Trump didn't. Here's more information Donald Trump apparently didn't know. The United States has roughly 40,000 troops positioned across 13 regional bases, not including the significant naval and air power it's recently deployed to the Middle East. On February 19th, Iran's ambassador to the UN warned the body that if the country were attacked, all nearby bases, facilities, and assets of the hostile force would constitute legitimate targets. Although Tehran's regional proxies are degraded, Iraqi and Houthi militias still have the capacity to add to any Iranian response. Lastly, for all that information that the President of the United States didn't have, that apparently everyone else did have, Tehran could target global oil flows and international shipping, sending energy prices up and creating a serious political liability for Trump. Iran may well encourage the Houthis to resume attacking ships transiting the Red Sea. The country's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has also been preparing to selectively seize adversary ships in the Strait of Hormuz. In conflict with the United States, if conflict with the United States deepens, Iran may seriously consider targeting the Gulf Arab states' energy infrastructure directly. Who could have seen it coming? Who could have seen it coming? No one could have seen it coming, except for the author of that piece from Foreign Affairs that wrote it all out. And those were just 4 quotes I took. He went into full deep detail from beginning to end, talking about the potential successes even that's there. This guy worked, I think he said, with either Obama or Biden's administration and also in Donald Trump's. It's like the guy knew what he was talking about and said it beforehand, but he didn't think that the guy was stupid enough to actually do it. But apparently he is. It's weird. Here's the back end of this piece from Evan Perez from CNN. It wasn't just the knowledge about what they could do in the region that everyone knew that Donald Trump didn't, but apparently it's about potential attacks at home that Donald Trump didn't know about.
They were responsible for handling a variety of national security cases, not only classified documents mishandling, but also tracking foreign spies on U.S. soil. And in the last few years, the U.S. government says that the Iranian government has been behind a number of plots here in the United States, including attempting to assassinate Donald Trump and former members of the Trump administration. But the FBI tells us that they maintain counterintelligence teams around the country and that they believe they can still respond to any threats from the Iranians. But this is part of a wider trend. The Justice Department and the FBI has seen a number of firings, not only from counterintelligence, but also national security lawyers in the National Security Division. We're told by sources that some parts of the National Security Division are down as many as half the number of employees that they had before Donald Trump took office his second term. We're hearing from people inside the FBI and the Justice Department that they're worried about whether the FBI can actually respond to some of the national security threats and some of the intelligence threats as a result of the ongoing conflict in Iran.
Not only not knowing what could happen in the region, but also what could happen here on United States soil, the homeland. What politicians always talk about, that they're looking to protect from rogue terrorists that are looking to kill Americans, who have their missiles set on American targets, looking to kill any American that they've got. Anytime they get cornered, what they say is we're here to protect American citizens. That is until we fire about 12 FBI agents that investigated and were part of a legitimate investigation and raid of Donald Trump's house to get all that classified material. That's why they're fired. So now that they're fired and maybe they can't help with any attacks at home, this is Donald Trump's response to if any American has any issues with living here, I mean, literally living or dying. Asked if Americans should worry about Iran retaliating against Americans on U.S. soil, Trump responded, I guess. You guys remember that? For the latest Time cover story titled Trump's War, which was published on March 5th, this correspondent Eric Cortelesa questioned Trump about the details of the unfolding war with Iran. And in that pointed moment, he was asked whether it's reasonable for Americans to have concerns about being attacked at home. Trump then gave that line of, I guess, but I think they're worried about that all the time. We think about it all the time. We plan for it. But yeah, we expect some things. Last quote from Trump. Like I said, some people will die. When you go to war, some people will die. That was his response when someone asked him, are you concerned or do you know anything about the potential attacks that are going to happen on U.S. soil because of your war in Iran? He said the same thing about U.S. soldiers that are going off. Well, some people die, and I'm willing to watch that happen because honestly, I don't give a damn about anyone dying. And it was bad enough when he talked about service members going off, because as we've always seen, Republicans always say things like, well, they signed up for it, so if they die, they die. And then they call themselves, supporting the troops. So now it's apparently spread to if you die at home in your house because of whatever reasons that they say that there could be attacks on U.S. soil. Apparently, Donald Trump's answer is, I guess if he dies, he dies, said the Russian in Rocky IV. And apparently the Russian sympathizer, the Russian puppet, Donald Trump also said it. I'm sure everyone feels comfortable, safe, not broke, not in chaos, not with the economy upside down because Donald Trump is in office. I think it's about time for those impeachment proceedings. Okay. Well, I got 20 minutes. So let's see if I can get this in. Like I said, bro, I'm going less hardcore, wonky political stuff today. I mean, I guess the war stuff was, but the Benjamin Netanyahu stuff wasn't. But it's still pertinent, I believe. And I've got one more. You guys. But beforehand, if you guys like this little change of pace, go ahead and like the stream. I'm going to go like it right now because I'm enjoying this change of pace too. But with all of these shortcomings, don't forget that term. With all these shortcomings, all of these broken promises, all these angry MAGA supporters, what we've got is a little bit of a mutiny going on, including a civil war, because of course, there's folks that are still on board, but there's a couple few that are no longer on board. Some of the leading voices in the MAGA movement. Let's start here with Megyn Kelly. Oh man, this got bad.
And this feels very much to me like it is clearly Israel's war. Mark Levin wanted it. It's his war. Ben Shapiro, Lindsey Graham, Miriam Adelson. That's obvious. They're the ones who've been pushing us into, and this feels.
Shots apparently are fired. Megyn Kelly calling out names. Look, Mark Levin wanted this. Ben Shapiro, Lindsey Graham, Miriam Adelson. It's obvious, is what she wants everyone to know, that they wanted this war. Donald Trump walked us into it. And I guess, I don't know to what degree Megyn Kelly's willing to, apologize for the guy like they always do. But it got real bad. To the point where Megyn Kelly dedicated a whole bunch of time to talking about one of the people that continues to back up Donald Trump. This is how it got a little. This is her addressing how ugly it's gotten.
Rather than dealing with it like a man by making a joke about it, whatever, ignoring it, brushing me back from the plate, he actually ran to the president of the United States. He ran to Donald Trump and had Trump send out a nice tweet about him last night, overnight. And it was a ridiculous tweet for which now the president is getting blowback because he does not have his finger on the pulse of where his party is right now, which is very unusual for Trump. This is very strange. The tweet, and it's very strange that Mark Levin couldn't fight his own battle. But like true pathetic weakling bullies, he's all bark and no bite. As soon as you punch them back, and look, I'm all for taking the high road, and I did try. But after 111 tweets, increasing the security profile in my own life and attacking me in the most vile terms, I think anybody could see that I was entitled to one below the belt punch, right? When they go low, we go micro penis. That's the way it's going to be, at least insofar as that bully is concerned.
I'm gonna show you how we got there. But now it's Mark Levin and a micro penis. Micro penis Mark, I think, is the way that the term is being coined. Megyn Kelly has a battle with Mark Levin over this war that apparently, as she, described it and was against it and called out names of people that helped get us into this, the beef grew. But it's not just Megyn Kelly. I'm going to give you guys the full scope of where this Civil War battle is beginning. There's another crazed MAGA guy who isn't very happy.
Mark Levin running to Trump with Sean Hannity. Oh, they're being mean to me. Oh, they're saying bad things. Myself, Tucker Carlson, we're not saying anything bad about you, other than the fact that you're trying to censor and control people and then run and play victim. And now you called on your daddy Trump to come and say, ooh, you won't be in the cool kids anymore. You won't be able to sit at the cool table at lunch. In junior high, if you're not cool. Well, here's a newsflash. When I was in junior high, I was dating the high school girls. When I was in high school, I was dating college girls. I was never in the lunchroom because my college girlfriend was picking me up at lunch. And we were pulling around the woods and having lunch, if you know what I mean. So it's the same analogy now. I don't want to be at your cool table, which is really the short bus of politics, okay? We're the avant-garde. We're the cutting edge. And I don't want to be at the table with Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, self-appointed control freak jokes, or Benjamin Netanyahu.
Alex, I'm gonna get to the substance in a second, but did he just mention how he was in junior high dating high school girls and in high school dating college girls, and these adult college girls came to high school to pick him up from school and then take him behind the bleachers? What is he talking about? Yeah, actually, I take that back. I don't want to know what Alex Jones was talking about, outside of the fact that he said these guys are trying to kick us out of the cool kids table. It sounds like he's mad at Mark Levin and Donald Trump for turning on them. Let me show you guys how we got here. Let's go with the Mark Levin back and forth with Megyn Kelly. Apparently, as she said, there's 111 tweets that he fired off at her. Here's one of them, I guess. This is from just the 15th, from Sunday. Poor Megyn Kelly, an emotionally unhinged, lewd, and petulant wreck. She's completely revealed and destroyed herself. She's everything people say she is, but much worse. Never an intelligent, thoughtful, or substantive comment. Utterly toxic. Wow. I mean, I feel like there's a lot more background before he got to all of that stuff that he was saying, which there's no way I'm going through the 110 other posts and messages that Megyn Kelly said he's tossed at her. But this is where Megyn Kelly is defending herself. Micro penis Mark thinks he has a monopoly on lewd. His tweets about me obsessively in the crudest, nastiest terms possible. Literally more than some stalkers that I've had arrested. He doesn't like it that when women like me fight back. Again, because of his micro penis. Oh, damn. Who knew that micro peens do such things to someone's brain? I feel like, this is one of those battles that if you get called micro penis Mark, you gotta fire back. And so he did. Busy Sunday morning for Megyn Kelly. She wakes up and has micro penis on her mind. Suffice to say, if it talks like a harlot and posts like a harlot, it's, well, you know the rest. Shalom. So it's getting deep. It's getting heavy. We've got micro penis Mark. We've got harlot Megan. Which, by the way, does anyone call anyone harlot anymore? Or is that just something we see in the Bible? I don't know. It did force this though. So the two sides are warring. Mark Levin, Megyn Kelly, Alex Jones, I suppose. And Donald Trump posts this long message, which I'm not going to read. Trust me. But the whole point here is that he's backing up Mark Levin because Mark Levin is backing up Donald Trump in this war that Donald Trump has no idea what he's doing other than bragging about how many people he can kill. Mark Levin is on that side. And I guess, as Megyn Kelly pointed out, he's one of those voices that said, go in, start a stupid war, which you have no idea what you're doing. And since she's critical of it, the knives are out, and so are the insults. Let's go back to Megyn Kelly because she did read that post from Donald Trump. And now her ire has gone from being mad about Mark Kelly and Ben Shapiro and Miriam Adelson and Lindsey Graham to then Donald Trump. Oh man, the fight is intensifying. I just liken it Iran.
And sure enough, he didn't know what to do. He went crying to the president, who's running a war right now.
No,
not to mention the country. It's crazy that this happened. And Trump sent out a truth late last night. I'll read to you in part, calling Mark Levin a truly great American patriot. He's somewhat under siege by other people with far less intellect, capability, and love for our country. Mark is tough, strong, and brilliant. I mean, if he's so tough, Mr. President, query why you're fighting his battle. That's why they call him the Great One. Sean Hannity realized it. He was special. Mark's a true conservative and has intellect. He's far smarter than those who criticize him. Above all, he's a man of great wisdom and common sense who truly loves our country. When you hear others unfairly attack Mark, remember, they are jealous and angry human beings whose sway is much less than the public understands and will, now that they know where I stand, rapidly diminish. This is Trump. He firmly believes that if he criticizes you, meaning me, Tucker, or anybody, that we will have no more audience left. I mean, I have 10 years to show that's not true.
I think she's not worried, but she's addressing that this unnamed, he didn't name her in this, which she'll bring up as well too, unnamed post about her and potentially Tucker Carlson for coming out against this war in Iran is going to get her audience because he figures I'll endorse Mark Levin and all the people who watched her show won't watch it anymore because Donald Trump thinks he tells everybody what to do and then they do it, because he's an egomaniac as well as a dictator. Let me let her finish going after Donald Trump because it gets a little bit more personal and she starts talking about what is this going to happen to this guy.
He's not naming me, but I think it's fair to say this is about me. It's about Tucker, and it's about some of Mark's critics on the right. Let's see. Those that speak ill of Mark will quickly fall by the wayside. So if you speak ill of Mark Levin, you will quickly fall by the wayside, as do people whose ideas, policies, and footings are not sound. They're not MAGA. I am. And MAGA includes not allowing Iran, blah, 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 to have a nuclear weapon. So what he's saying is if you criticize Mark Levin, he says those who speak ill of Mark will quickly fall by the wayside. They are not MAGA. So you cannot be part of the MAGA movement if you speak ill of Mark Levin. That's where we are. That doesn't hurt me at all. I've not been part of the MAGA movement. Again, I will stay MAGA adjacent, which is where I am happily. But he is going to further destroy his own coalition if he continues with this.
Continue to destroy his coalition. If he continues with this, what makes you think he's not going to continue with this? The only way he won't continue with this is if, which isn't out of the question, Megyn Kelly drops back and kisses his ass like she always has. She's MAGA adjacent, apparently. I suppose MAGA adjacent is saying that 12, 13, 14-year-olds aren't really like the types of people that Jeffrey Epstein went after, and he's not truly a super pedophile, whatever she said, to try and distance this idea between older teenage girls and younger teenage girls, or 12-year-olds even. I wouldn't call that MAGA adjacent, especially since Donald Trump was trying to come up with some kind of way to excuse this disgusting things that he's been up to. But still, it's spreading, bro. It's spreading. She says he's losing his audience. He doesn't have his finger on the pulse for MAGA. I think the fact that they're fighting like this is one of those things that this guy is such a disaster. All we have to do is sit back and watch it. Finally. And Marjorie Taylor Greene dove in to try and help clean and sanitize her image, because she's like, here's my opportunity to still be the piece of trash conservative that I am, and then at the same time say that I'm against all of the horrific things that this administration, which she propped up, is doing. She says, I wholeheartedly support Megyn Kelly, telling the world that Mark Levin has a micro penis. What kind of announcement is that? I'd like to make an announcement. I support Megyn Kelly saying that Mark Levin has a micro penis. Important statement of the day from the former Congresswoman. It's the most deserved insult, and I don't care if it's vulgar. And Trump's gigantic defense of Levin only enraged the base more. People are done. MAGA destroyed by micro penis Mark Levin. Look at that. I want you guys to notice something, because I haven't taken my foot off of the gas and exposing what Marjorie Taylor Greene does every time. It's micro penis Mark that is destroying the MAGA movement. It is not Donald Trump, who's supporting micro penis Mark, who also is a whole part of pushing Donald Trump with the narratives of going into this war. It's not Donald Trump's fault for not knowing what he's doing. It's not Donald Trump's fault for being a boisterous blowhard. It's not his fault for being a fascist, murderer, dictator. It's everyone else's fault. It's weird how that works. She just can't say it. I think she did say it once. She did say Donald Trump's name one time at least. But she dove in to get on board with this fight to try and make sure people knew where she stood on the micro penis Mark. I'm not done. I showed you guys Alex Jones talking about high school girls that came and picked him up, or college girls that picked up his high school ass because he's weird. And apparently we should look into the Epstein files to see if those girls' names are on it. Still, here comes Alex Jones. He's not very happy with Donald Trump either.
President Trump's coming to the defense of Mark Levin today on Truth Social is extremely troubling because of what he says there. First off, he implies that it's these evil, terrible people that aren't MAGA that are attacking him and that Trump's coming to his aid. Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, and others have been all over the conservative circuit, CPAC, their own shows, TPUSA, saying Tucker Carlson is non-MAGA, Alex Jones is non-MAGA, and listing other people that are supposed to be excommunicated. Well, let's just get one thing straight here. I was around a lot longer than Trump politically, and I've never been MAGA. I'm 1776. I've supported the aims of Make America Great Again so far, but now those definitions are changing.
Is this a shift? Is Alex Jones, going to leave now like Marjorie Taylor Greene did? He's saying directly that he's not a part of this whole thing. No longer a MAGA. I guess MAGA had left him, not he left MAGA. It's getting bad. So as crazy as Alex Jones has always been, he's been important to Donald Trump and his movement. That's why even the time he's had these small waverings of support, he snaps right back in, which is always possible. As I said, could also happen with Megyn Kelly. But this whole thing with Mark Levin really pissed him off. And man, I feel like he's separating. He's the original 1776. He was MAGA before Donald Trump was MAGA. Let's let him finish.
What Trump's really doing here is attacking his critics. He doesn't want to say, don't attack me in the Iran war. He wants to say, leave Mark Levin alone. He's the litmus test when he's calling for censorship and all the rest of it of people like Tucker Carlson and myself, or I will say that you're not part of our movement. Well, Trump, you don't have to worry about that. People are already very upset with you and already basically understanding that your legacy is being destroyed by you breaking your promise about this war and a lot of the other things you've done, like no real prosecutions of the deep state. So if you want to continue to self-inflict wounds on your own name and own political dynasty, I'm sad about that, but that's your life. You can do it. We're going to stay true to our populist, conservative, nationalist, Christian ideas that you wrote in on, but that we launched. I've been promoting these issues for 30 plus years. Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, and all your darlings were never Trumpers and attacked you. And I've seen Lindsey Graham, say, screw Donald Trump. Donald Trump can go to hell. But that's who you've chosen now, and their worldview more and more. You're ignoring Kennedy, saying we're going to give glyphosate, protection, Roundup, and so many other things you're starting to break with why we voted for you.
Starting to break with why they voted for him. This guy started breaking with why they voted for him the first month into office, but they didn't want to accept it. It's taken a full year and a couple months for these bigger named folks to start speaking out and saying the things that they're saying, maybe because Donald Trump is tossing middle fingers at them now. It's all about this collective. They want it to be a part of the group. And now that Donald Trump literally said, you can't be part of the group, this is an easy exit off of the sinking Titanic. Yo, it's starting to capsize, bro. It's not looking very good. This is an easy jump off point. So much so, and I hate playing this guy, but I think it shows just how bad it has gotten. This is the last clip, you guys. I want to make sure you see this one. Alex Jones had a guest on his show, and they shared the same point of view, except it went much further than I would have ever expected from this Nazi.
Like, I can ignore some stuff and hold my nose with Trump, but quickly, by the hour, I morally cannot be part of this. You're already there saying vote Democrat. I get you're saying that as a carrot and the stick, but what the hell's going on here?
I think you have to. I think you have to vote Democrat in 26, and I'll tell you why. We're being told always that the Republicans are the lesser of two evils, that they're going to be marginally better than the Democrats. Look at all of the broken promises. Epstein files, that's huge. It's huge. And let's be honest, they tried to cover it up. It's not like they fumbled that. It's not like they made a mistake. They engaged in an active cover-up, and they failed only because of a revolt within their own party. And now Marjorie Greene is an outcast. I'm out. And you know me, I'm the furthest thing from a Democrat. I'm far right. I'm not left-wing or even liberal. I don't consider myself even a center liberal or a right liberal.
Let's talk about that. Democrats get in. Isn't that accelerationist?
No, I think that, I don't know that I would characterize it as accelerationist. I would characterize it as corrective. And it's sending a message to the GOP before the big one, which is 28.
Yeah, you're saying the only leverage we've got is the wake-up call.
Right.
But I can't sign on to covering up Epstein. I can't sign on to World War III. And so that's why I tried to promote the optimism, because I fucking need this, man.
The tears, I guess, started to flow. Nick Fuentes and Alex Jones were trying to work their way through their separation from Donald Trump. Daddy apparently is leaving, or they're leaving Daddy. They're finally growing up and leaving the house and having their own bad points of view that are separate from Donald Trump because he screwed them over on the economy, on the Epstein files, on these wars. They can't take it anymore, to the point where Nick Nazi Fuentes is talking about voting Democrat. Whatever, bro. It's about time we separate ourselves from all of these establishment politicians, Democrat and Republican. I think our eyes have been open enough to see who all of these folks are, who the real ones might be, who aren't even in office yet, because there's a new crop of people that are running for office that actually want to do something because we're living it, versus the folks who've been there forever, or who came in with the idea that I'm going to go ahead and get along so far as I can make some money off of this and have some kind of a weird political fake ass legacy where I do nothing. That comes many times from the Democratic side. And apparently from the Republican side, it's to spill as much blood and start as many wars as possible. Oh, and hoard money. That's really the main purpose here. So the Civil War is on. I guess the Civil War that conservatives wanted is on, but it's a MAGA Civil War, and there's fractions and fractures happening all over the place. I'm gonna sit back and keep watching that. But let's see how long we can protect this country from this guy doing worse things to make sure we don't get his ass out of office, because we need to be focused on that too. Anyways, that's it, you guys. Oh, look, top of the hour. I know some of you guys may have already jumped over to go see John on his solo show. I'm glad those of you that hung around. I think it was necessary. I think it was kind of fun. Is Benjamin Netanyahu dead? Who knows? We haven't seen him. But we'll see you guys tomorrow for a Wednesday. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everyone. Oh, yeah, Grumpy Cat, you just let me know that. Good. Thank you. Thomas Cross, 8339. I feel like you don't get much shouts out, brother. You're generally disgruntled, I've noticed from the messages I've seen you put in. And you know what? All of us are. So I feel you, man. I'm glad you guys are all here every day as usual. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Enjoy your Tuesday. Happy St. Patty's yet again. See you later, Ma.